I'm really excited because today we get to do some cool stuff about leading with certainty.
Yes, very important.
I'm really excited, Meijing. Do you want to take us through it? I'd love to, for anybody that's coming on, to really uh, know that on Fridays we do youth leadership Lighthouse. We're really pumped and excited. We got Shaw that's coming, and we got Meijing here. Of course, we have my partner in crime, Sagitas, and Brooke is joining us today as well. So we're gonna have a fun day, and I look forward to meeting, hearing, and learning about all your thoughts. Meijing, you want to take us away?
Sure. Yeah. Well, happy Friday, first of all. I am connecting from Mexico, a little town outside of Mexico City called Texcoco, which is an old Aztec city. So I'm here exploring some land, connecting with indigenous people and seeing what they can do with the youth and how we connect with them. And so just really immersing myself into this ancient land. So I'm very excited about that. Besides that, yes, so one of the biggest lessons that we had this week for the youth, especially, is the certainty aspect of how we lead ourselves and how we come out to the world. So, because of that, we decided for the Lighthouse meetup to have this topic to be what does it mean to lead oneself, and really just how can we lead ourselves to the best of our abilities so we can come out to the world through that. Because one of the biggest things that we've seen with the youth is they feel like they don't want to be leaders. A lot of them are like, no, I don't want that responsibility. I'm good. Thank you. You be a leader. Like, I'll just follow. But what they don't understand, and what something that we've been really diving into, is that in order for us to really come out to the world and live the best abilities to our best of our abilities is by leading ourselves, right? So leadership is not only let me tell others what to do or influence others. It's really influencing ourselves, because once we start with ourselves, then everything blossoms from there. So we really wanted to dive into that and see everybody's perspective on what does it mean to lead oneself and lead oneself with certainty, and not only, and what is certainty, right? And not only leading, because sometimes certainty can go off as ego and confident, like I'm the best, but really is more confidence and just being able to believe in yourself. So by then others follow, because they know that they're certain that they can follow you, and that whatever you step that you're taking is the right step because you're certain in yourself. So that's the topic for the day. And I guess I can pass it to Shah so he can give us a little bit of his, I guess, give us an example of how he was able to come out of this, what he learned from his lessons of the week when it came to certainty and speaking to youth, because youth, a lot of them are uncertain. I mean, we're in a transitional age from 18 to even 35, where we don't know what we want, and certainty is huge. How do we know that we're making the right decision? And even if it's not the right decision, how could we be certain that no matter what happens, we're okay, because we're solution makers, and we can lead through just being able to find solutions no matter what the problem arises. So I guess Shaw can give us a little example from there, and then I think he can pass it on and see if everybody's ideal on this topic, which is so powerful and so important for youth to hear. And welcome, Shaw. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Buenos
You
dias,
made
everybody. I made it. Yeah. So, what I would say I've experienced this week as far as certainty is finding more certainty in myself. And specifically, that happened through the way that I speak. Because before I spoke with a lot of ums, and Meijing was pointing that out, I had a lot of uh, or like I would go in a circle with what I was trying to say.
Mm.
And what I've realized is that it's not just when I'm speaking, is it an it's like, what am I communicating all the time? Am I living as an or am I living as like, let's go, let's do this? You know what I mean? And I realized that yesterday at the gym. I was like, I could be totally doing a whole nother set right now, but I'm living as an I'm like, oh, this one felt good. I'll just go on to the next one. It's like, no, like go, like it's not an you know what I mean? So I realized that, and then also what I realized in speaking to the youth is that whenever I'm sharing with them, my fluctuating levels of certainty completely affects them. So like when I'm presenting to them, I actually had an amazing example with my teammate Dawson, who he has a leader within him. I could tell. I know he's a powerful being, but he hasn't tapped into it. And so like when I'm sharing for us all to be doing exercises, right? We all lead each other through core exercises. Yeah. And I will be like, okay, guys, let's do 25 crunches, right? Or 25 Russian twists. If I say it with certainty, then everybody's okay, let's do 25. They're all happy about it. Let's do it. And then if you say it with any force, like you're trying to make people do it, like 25 Russian twists, everybody's like, fuck you, dude. Oh, sorry, pardon my language, but everybody's like, we don't want to listen to you.
It's all good.
And so he was like, everybody listening to you, they don't want to listen to me when I'm speaking. And I unfortunately didn't go into the whole thing with him, but I just said, like, I didn't say anything, actually. I didn't say anything. I just kept going. But in the future, I should definitely tell him that it's just being certain in what he wants to say. So that's a bit about my experiences with certainty this week. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you for allowing me to share.
Yes, that's beautiful.
I have a question, Shaw. Do you mind if I ask?
Yeah.
When
I don't mind.
In times where you find or feel uncertain, is there anything that specifically that you discover within yourself that you recognize that you choose to do to step into that certainty?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say I've come with two things. Number one, the lack of certainty usually comes from when I'm taking action, not in a verbal way, and I'm writing stuff or I'm having to take action. Sometimes my mind will create projections about, oh, you're not doing it right, or start overthinking about what's going on, right? And so what I do is I just will recognize that, and then I'll actually just completely funnel my vision, like my focus, into the work, and I'll realize that there's so much, like there's no such thing as it's not good enough, it's not enough. That's just the story that's playing. And so really just funneling my focus back into that and concentrating to the best of my capability is one thing that I've found. And then the other thing that I've found is also watching the tone that I speak. Like when I'm speaking, if I'm speaking to somebody, if I notice that my tone is starting to raise up a little bit, or I'm starting to get, it's like a radar system for how uncertain I'm getting. So if I can watch the way that I'm speaking and control the words that are coming out of my mouth, then there's absolute certainty. There isn't any more lack of it.
I love it.
So,
sounds like also action, very much action oriented.
for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Do you want to share? Do you want anyone else? Do you want to pick somebody else to go?
You.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, listen, leading is really about being ourselves. Certainty I've discovered comes from a space of deep internal structure. When you put yourself into optimal environments, they're not necessarily the best environments to help you grow, but if you put yourself into uncertain environments, you'll definitely grow, meaning that you'll discover your voice, you'll discover your sense of self, you'll discover how to create a structure of sound and safety for people around you. And that is such a responsibility within all of ourselves to do at such a deep level. And I know that society for such a long period of time, it from my perspective and my experience has projected so many of these limitations onto us. You guys have, many of you have heard me say in the past, you know, I was always projected on about, Eric, you're too much, you're too this, you're too this, like always somebody else's perspective of what kind of a limit I had, recognizing that those limits had, and always asking myself and taking responsibility and saying, okay, you know, maybe they're right. Like, what do I need to look at within myself? And then discovering, saying, hold on a second, like, fuck that, I'm infinite, you know, like, let's shine. And this component of certainty created and came to me from a desire of service to myself, service to my higher self, service to my own experience of walking into environments, seeing something that was not feeling good, or somebody else being mistreated, or somebody else being bullied, or anything like this, and stepping up and saying, hey, like, what are you doing? And when people are saying, hey, this is none of your business, it's like, no, hold on a second, I'm in the vicinity, I'm in the environment, it is my business. If I'm in the environment and I'm not doing something about it, then there is actually, that's not leadership, that's just you get what you tolerate. And so I realized that if you're in a vicinity and you don't take responsibility of yourself and the situation around you, then you're not actually stepping into that role of responsible leadership. And to me, that's what I've defined, or within myself, as, you know, leading, just asking questions, you know, getting curious about others, because recognizing that I don't know is also a big part of leadership from my perspective. Is, hey, how, if I can't find the answer, or if I don't know the answer, how can I find the answer, right? How can I get certain enough about myself to be so certain that I will find a way? There's nothing in this world that we can't achieve, because there's always enough questions to find the answers, because the potential within all of us is infinite. So if we know that we're infinite, and we know that we can connect with anybody, and we know that human potential is unwavering in its ability, then we can always find the answers, whether it's either reading a book, having a good conversation, meeting another community, asking for help. And in this world, we're so drowned in information, but starving for connection. And what I'm grateful for is that I've led myself around the world multiple times to build enough relationships that now, if whether it's Bali, Dubai, Australia, London, you know, Brazil, Ecuador, US, doesn't matter. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, you know, we're working on this project, we're doing these things, I need your help. Are you in? You know, and it's amazing, because things just happen like this. It's like immediate. And because of that certainty, people are kind of magnetized, or flocking, or coming together, because it's created a new pattern. It's like changed the nature of my own experience. And also that's given me a lot more certainty in my own life. So it's beautiful to step into that fully, because for such a long period of time, I was looking for something outside of me. And once you find that within yourself, that true wealth, that true abundance, it's like a fountain. Like, you just can give. And it's infinite. And I love it. I'm grateful. And as a result, you know, we build, and I'm grateful for this. So I'm excited, because, you know, with you guys, the youth, we are magnifying, and we're illuminating a beautiful path for so many. And I just want to really acknowledge Meijing and Shaw for the devotion, you know, for the time, the energy. And I know that some of these things are very hard, that we're integrating, and it's a challenge. And every single day, you know, you guys step up, you guys are willing to take action, you are inspired, you're excited, you know, like, and I'm pumped because I get to support and serve alongside such beautiful energy, and you're also taking responsibility. So, you know, we get to spend this intimate time together, and you guys are taking responsibility and saying, hey, you know, like, as long as I'm in this, I'm fully in this, Eric will give also his energy fully in this, you know? And so this is what I love about you guys so much. And I'm just honored to be here alongside you guys on this beautiful path that we're paving, not just with intention, but with action. Yes. So I love you guys. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Brooke. I'd love Brooke to share a little bit about herself and yeah, what you're feeling.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm super excited to be here. I wasn't on your call 2 weeks ago, but I watched the recording afterwards and I was just like blown away. It was the week on meditation and just getting to listen to each of you, your perspectives and like how much depth you brought so quickly into the conversation is truly such a skill. So yeah, I'm and of course I'm seeing it here today. So very excited. Yeah, a little bit about me. I'm nomadic right now. I'm actually in Portland for the moment, but I've been traveling internationally for the past year. And I used to be a chemical engineer in oil and gas, and now I'm a spiritual life coach, soul purpose and spiritual life coach. So big change, and I couldn't be more excited about all that. And so as far as certainty, I mean, at its core, certainty is a feeling, right? And I think that's kind of what you were saying is like so many kids, and I think it has to do with you being in your own essence, right? And whenever you can be yourself in your own glorious like uniqueness, then that's when you gain that certainty. And I think that's what so many kids, like you were saying, they're like they don't want to step into leadership, they don't want like to get out of their comfort zone because they're not even comfortable in themselves, right? And so I think of everything Eric said was beautiful, of course, like the one thing I would say on that though is a lot of what you said is assuming that you have the knowledge that we are infinite. And if you don't have that knowledge yet or that belief, then it's like, well, shit, what do I do right now? And so I think that's where it's like taking these kids from this uncertainty, not thinking they are infinite, and getting them to that point where they realize they are. And so I think, like, for me, it first took me to realize that I wasn't who I knew that I could be and who I knew that I've been in the past, right? So like I got like so overwhelmed and anxious, and then I had that realization, like, who am I? What am I doing, right? And so then it was a path of kind of defining who I wanted to be and then stepping into the fear, right? And like taking those steps. Sorry, this cat, I'm house sitting right now, and they're like the most loving and like needy cats. But yeah, like stepping into the fear. And then also I think an essential part of certainty is being okay with all outcomes, right? And so it's so often that like we say we think we have to do something perfect or like it has to be successful, but we don't even define what successful is, right? And so instead of saying, we just think everything's a failure, instead of saying, actually, my goal is just to do something I've never done before, and that's a success. And then to go into that with certainty, then that like, it's like, that's the only thing I have to accomplish here. So I think it depends on where you're at in the path and the process, but like, that's, I think, the path towards stepping into certainty. Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense. I love that so much. So I was thinking, how can we help these youth step into certainty? And you hit that nail right in the head. If we can just break, because it's really fear. They just have fear. They're just so scared of making the wrong decision. When if we just switch that little trigger where just doing something you've never done before is a success. Like that is brilliant, because now we're encouraging them to step into uncertainty because it's something they've never done before. And that's a beautiful thing. And if they can see that it's such a beautiful thing because there's so much that comes out of it, then they start getting comfortable in doing something that they don't like to do. And that will be a beautiful compounding effect. So I love that. And then sooner or later, they're going to take bigger steps and bigger steps into uncertainty.
Definitely. I love what you said too. It's like cultivating that feeling of success as well, because like maybe these kids have never been celebrated before, right? Maybe they've always been told that that's not like the high enough standard that they reached, right? And so it's like actually showing them this small step is worth celebrating, and then like is so big. And then something Shaw said also, right? Whenever you were saying like after Eric asked this question and you pointed out, you're like, it's when I get in my mind, that's when I start to get uncertain and it starts taking over, right? So it's also a process of getting out of the mind and into the body. And so like with that combination, I think these kids can like, I think it can be such quick transformation with simple steps.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. Sigitas, what do you have to add to this beautiful conversation? Give us your feedback.
Yeah, it's like you said everything. Everything is said. Like the certainty, like what is this fundamentally? Is there such thing as certainty? I think it's more uncertainty and being comfortable and certain in that uncertainty. To show up, as Eric was pointing out, is like trusting in oneself that, okay, I was always guided and I am guided right now and I will be guided. So I'm going to know what to do in the moment and the moment will show up. And trust from within, without thinking, without overthinking too much, but like literally being the example. Like during this past weekend, we had a Bitcoin halving event here in Lagos, and my dog attacked another dog, and it became chaos. And one woman got injured, like with in a finger, so it became a huge drama. And at that moment, I was digging for my certainty that everything is gonna be okay, and I'm gonna know what to do in the moment. And I was just focusing on being grateful for universe and like not agreeing with the wrong like negative outcomes. I was like, no, this has to be fucking all like yes, there is a lesson for me, there is a lesson for everyone, there is good, it's like a lot of turbulence is beautiful. And I was using all my techniques, all the knowledge I accumulated in my whole life in that very present moment. I was breathing, meditating, became that I became a space holder for others. That has nothing to do with the dogs, that has like no direct connection. So for example, for me, if like the risk was very scary that the dog will gonna be taken away and put down to sleep, and that was terrifying as a motherfucker. I was like breathing and slowing down and allowing people to hold me until I recalibrated myself. And then again, I don't know what to do in a situation. And then I chose to trust that, okay, I'm going to know what to do in situation out of integrity. Yes, my mind wanted to run, take away the dog. And I was like, no, universe, like, no. So I stayed in that knowing, and everything twisted, and everyone became more bonded and everyone became more connected. So it kind of, the whole thing shifted and molded into something more beautiful, like I don't know, more beautiful, but different kind of outcome. And everyone was able like get back to self-censure, and okay, the finger is been injured, everything is, she went to the hospital, she fixed, like we did what we could. And then the answers would always show up in the present moment, what to do next. So for example, if I didn't know what to do and somebody asked about the woman, about the woman got injured, and I immediately knew that I need to exchange numbers now. I was like, okay, can I get your number so you can call me whenever you're ready to talk, you know, take your time because everyone is in shock. And these kind of moments, small moments that showed up, and I guess that's been built through years, like Eric was saying, through years of traveling around the world, living in constant unknown. There is no certainty in the unknown, period. It cannot be there. That's why it's the unknown. Yeah, so becoming comfortable in that not knowing and like literally losing the mind, like literally letting that fucking go, and trusting their whole being that is gonna work itself out, and the universe will support. That's my certainty now for sure. Like trusting in a universe that it always behind, like it always figures out, helps me to supports me. And in that way I can lead by example again. Thank you. I hope my mic was on. Yes. Would be funny if not.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful, so true. Yeah, one of the things that I noticed this week with the youth that I was leading, I used to ask them for their opinion. Oh, well, what do you think? And then I realized that asking them, what do you think, is giving them uncertainty. They're like, I don't know, you tell me. So really what I started doing is empowering them through projects and saying, okay, you take care of this and you decide everything on this. And then just having the faith and trust that they will do a good job. Even if they don't do a good job, they're gonna learn and they're gonna evolve through it. So I used to be like, I caught myself asking them, they will ask me, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And I would say, well, what do you think? Because I thought that was empowering them. But when I started realizing that it like gave them a lot of uncertainty, and it would like make them step back and be like, I don't know. Like, okay, this one. I didn't even know. I just go, yeah, this one, do that one, do this one. I just point something with certainty. And they would be like, okay, okay, okay. And then they just start doing. So I started realizing that it really to empower a youth is not to, or any human, is not to tell them what do you think in a project. It's really giving them a project, like something for them to hold and grow on their own. Is really more of an empowering move than asking them for little opinions on little decisions that really don't matter that much, because then they just start freaking out. So that's something that I really evolved in this week. I started realizing how important that is.
I want to challenge that a bit, because I also believe that there is a huge opportunity for when we ask people what they think from their perspective, because they have different experiences. And so when we ask a better question, what do they think and how did they behave? What was your experience like? It allows them to tap into that imagination. And that experience of imagination gives them the almost certainty that they can dream, that they can tap into that level of infinite awareness. And this was something that when we ask what we think or what does someone else think in any project, from my experience, we open them up to their creativity. And that creative endeavor for them gives them permission to say, hey, maybe what I think matters. Maybe what my imagination is offering, this actual project or this experience, is something that will add tremendous value, because perhaps somebody else's perspective may not have the same thoughtfulness that my experience has had. And as a result, even a thoughtful disagreement or a thoughtful creation can come to life because of that imaginative capacity. So I would encourage, if we can, ask not just what they think, but also from their experience, what are they feeling? Because that even then taps into their emotional intelligence and gives them permission again to know that their feelings are guiding them. What do you guys think?
I love
I
that
guess what
question.
you're saying is to find a self-motivated leader from within in each other, like to be the space where, with the questions and curiosity, to explore the other person's universe, to really figure it out what the person is willing to do. Then in that case, the person doesn't need to have a leader. It becomes a leader. It becomes self-going organism. It leads itself.
I love that. It's almost like you're really guiding them to step out of their mind and into their heart to make a decision.
It's not even guiding, because guiding, it also puts you in superior mindset, that you're doing something for other, which we don't like, and that can be a bummer in like shooting in one self feet or whatever, like in the process. Like rather focusing, genuinely curious to figure it out, what the people wanna, why do they do that? What do they want to do? Once that part is seen, then we both know that we know. And then there is this internal mechanism that triggers integrity, and person starts showing up for itself, not for anybody else. And we have to trust the people that they're gonna step into that power in every given moment. That is, not everybody needs the leader. Not everybody needs to be led. Trusting, sharing together whatever is that the project, like elaborating and allowing people to take responsibility rather than to force it in any way through any communication, through anything.
And that is the ultimate help that we get to step into when we ask these curious questions, because you help them refine that influence within themselves where they actually start to trust themselves.
Yeah, I think that shift in verbiage, right? From what do you think to what do you feel is crucial. And like you repeated, it gets them out of their mind into their body and gets them in tune with a greater knowing, right? Rather than the mind so easily influenced, right? And so I think there's a couple important things around that as well. Is one, I will use the word like as a guide for right now, right? Because you are taking on this role and you're being conscious about the way that you are interacting with them. So if you ask them that question, and whenever they have that an immediate response, like, oh, I don't know, right? What's causing them to have that kind of contracted response, right? It's this feeling of fear and not safety, right? So it's like for you, being the person asking the question, it's like, how can you create more safety in the environment to let them know that whatever their response is, whatever their feeling is, it's okay, it's not wrong, and like it's okay for them to express, right? And like on top of that, what Sagitas was saying earlier about stepping into the unknown and there's no certainty, right? It's beautiful because the more you step into the unknown, the more certainty you do get in a way, because it starts to build that muscle of the trust and the knowing that any choice I make is the right choice, right? And that was such a hard lesson for me to learn, right? I would worry forever about this or that or one or the other, right? And so with that, maybe depending on the type of question you're asking them or the type of project, you can ask how they feel, but you could also give them like two options or something, right? Say, well, you could do this or you could do this. What feels better to you? And then they then get to make a less like scary kind of choice, right? It's a little more contained. And then they feel maybe more safety to be able to make one or the other. And then they can see they made a choice and it was great, right? And so that's just an option depending on, what the situation is. But I think cultivating that safety and allowing them to express and feel is such a crucial, like, great challenge, Eric, to the thought. But it was amazing for you to recognize, right, how they reacted. So you were like on the right track, right? And realizing, oh no, they no longer feel safe is basically what you recognized. And then you did try to accommodate that. So that's amazing.
I have a question. What is the cat's name? She wants to be present. I'm curious what her name is.
That one's Stewie. They're two brothers.
Oh.
There's Stewie and Jimmy. But yeah, she actually, or he likes to play fetch. And so he's been bringing this little toy to me and just dropping it. He dropped it in my mug earlier. And then he wants me to throw it so that he'll go play fetch.
I love it. See, there's
Yeah.
such great spirits wanting to be present in the good energy.
Definitely.
Somehow I was coming to top it up what you were saying, Brooke, to add on that, like to celebrate, how to say, failures if such thing exist, like to celebrate, that could look, like, can't even find a word. Like to celebrate every day. That's maybe the point. Celebrate every moment, every day together. Yeah. I think
that, failure is like temporary defeat. It's just another way to do something, not do something, and learn how to do it better. It's a great lesson to define who you are, how resilient you are, and what new path you can pave as a result of knowing that that's not one of the pathways. It's the greatest lesson. It's by taking, and that's where Shaw, like that action comes in, right? It's so important. Because if we don't take action, we can never test. It's test and measure.
Yeah.
It's
And I
like
think
this law of creative potential is our current belief, right? Implemented by time and action, and in that constant space. And that as that evolves, it starts to create this exponential outlook of creativity and potential and manifestation.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think if there is a perceived failure, right, then the question is, how do you then respond to that? If a kid comes back and they're like, discouraged or disappointed, and you ask what happened, and you get the sense that they feel that they failed, then how do you respond to that, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, like, what did you learn? And then
congratulations, like break the pattern. Somehow
Exactly.
break the fucking pattern, like fuck yeah, finally, I knew you're gonna do it. Tell me, what did you learn? Like
Exactly.
fucking, like, messed up with the thingy here. The pattern needs to break.
That's amazing. Like, what a valuable lesson that you just got, right? And so, and then they're like, oh, they shift from that kind of lower feeling into that immediately higher feeling, and then that's such a deep lesson when you can have such a profound emotional shift so quickly, right? That's how you learn. So, have you had?
Really... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to ask if you've had any experiences like this recently. Yeah.
Right this moment. Because when Sagitas was going like, and it breaks the old pattern, and I was like, I had just started, I was here, and then I had just started to get into my head about something I wanted to say. I was like, I got uncertain, right? I was uncertain if I wanted to share it. And then he said, breaks the pattern. I was like, I'm back. You know what I mean? Like, so it was literally that experience exactly. Sagitas, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for bringing me back.
Well, that's again, like, it's something becomes, because I feel like sometimes I drop in this channel and it's not me talking. So it just starts coming from me. So it's when you say Sigitas, thank you, it's, I don't know where it's coming from, it's just coming through me, through experience, and yeah, I don't know, like, it seems like I'm figuring it out how my system is operating, but it's this thing it's losing itself, and like I start communicating much more from this which is certainty for me. Is mine. It's the known for me. That's the same with the Bitcoin. Like I had to accumulate the knowledge to make sure I can speak about it. I have to test from all the angles, figure it out, learn about community, meet people. Like, okay, that's the thing. This is not about that. Okay, this is the game of knowledge, the game of information. Okay, that's a different kind of game. Like to find my why, so I can be so certain. I can be so, when I talk about Bitcoin and what it does to the world, it's not even anymore like. It's not even a question anymore. It's a foundational base for all my functioning, all my reasoning is based in laws of nature. So it's like I'm standing with both my feet. I'm also full on aware that I might be off. This is still uncertainty. We're living in the unknown, So like, if I say I know that I don't know on some levels, but still it gives me this choice of responsibility and to act from love, because I tested what's going on here, like I studied, and that gives me this energy, I guess.
That's amazing, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share what I was thinking of sharing, but was then overthinking about sharing. I'm just going to say it, which is that I had an experience last night that was like, if you're fully in control of yourself, over knowing yourself, then you fully control the environment around you and how everything is happening. And that was really crazy for me to see when I was just driving home last night, is if everything is happening for you, like you're fully controlling who you are, then you control everything. But it doesn't have to do with control like you're like trying to force it. It just happens like that. So I don't know if you all have experience with that, but I just wanted to share it.
There's a component here where it's force versus power. So this is by beautiful book by Dr. David Hawkins. And this is an element of power. So it's in a space of taking responsibility, meaning ability to respond to any situation with that level of calmness and cohesiveness within yourself. And I'll explain to you a little bit of a story. So when I lived in Ibiza, I took on this really difficult project that I was willing to spearhead of helping the rivers and the water come back to Ibiza. And there's these old ancient principles of how they've done the elevators, of really creating ways to refine the salt water, getting it back into the island, but also then challenging all the people that are utilizing the pools and things like this. And people were like, "You're crazy. You're trying to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's give it a shot. It's about doing it. It's about having those conversations and being willing to have these conversations." And everybody's complaining about it. So why not somebody do something about it? Why don't we just have these conversations about it? Why don't we make more discussions about it? Instead of complaining and saying how fucking everything sucks and how it's not working, let's take fucking action. And so I challenged a lot of egos in that moment. And, because this is the collective kind of reasoning is so many people, they talk a lot about things and then they refuse to take action. And so I failed. Like, it was amazing. It didn't work out. I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of energy. It didn't work out the way that I had thought that it needed to work out in my own mind. But what was the greatest thing is the lesson was of the resilience, of the communication, of, this responsibility, the ability to respond and taking more action from a true place. And, these things I've done, like whether it was in Brazil with Seguitas or other projects around the world, or even what I'm doing now, all of it is very difficult shit. It's shit that it's not easy, that most people would look at me multiple times in my life and say, Eric, you're crazy. But what I'm saying is all that stuff, all of those difficult projects, all that temporary defeat or failure has come to a place now where people are like, he really puts his heart into everything he does. He puts his heart and soul into everything he does, and it's built this muscle. It's built this profound muscle. And today I got a response from multiple people from Ibiza saying, hey, I hear you're working on an amazing project in Canada. I'm in Dubai. I was talking to some of these investors and they brought up your name. What? What's going on? People from Ibiza are in Dubai. They're talking about a project that I'm doing in Canada. Why does that start to happen? It happens because your consistency in what you define, and you do hard things that nobody is willing to do, and you put your heart into everything, that temporary defeat, that temporary failure becomes the greatest lesson, because your resilience will show up in times of uncertainty when people are looking for certainty where you've always stepped up. And from that place, by putting yourself out there and by always giving to others as you would wish to have done up until yourself, which is the golden rule, you start to shine an opportunity where people see certainty as you. You become their physical representation of certainty.
Oh, brother, beautiful. With again, being an example, leading from the heart and integrity, and yeah, just as Brooke pointed out, like face the fucking fears. Fear is the unknown territory of the map, if you can imagine, on computers, as it is a map. You know, like the leader goes and opens the map, covers up the map, so that's always there. It's just like uncertainty, it's always there. Don't try to get rid of uncertainty. It's not fun. If you're gonna lose uncertainty, it's like losing playfulness, losing life, like thinking that, okay, this is certain, this is the way. It's not fun. Doesn't lead anywhere, literally.
I really like that reframe of imagining uncertainty as playfulness. Obviously not like, it's like, how can you turn that uncertainty into something more fun, like more jovial? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, what is wisdom? I like this way of looking at wisdom. Wisdom is non-emotional attachment to the past. Like when we don't attach anymore to our stories, our traumas, we can live and act out of, like, it's not about us anymore. So we can give it fully out the way it, like, be in service, as Eric points out. Yeah. And it's fun. Weird is cool. It's a part of it. Like it's a must. It's a must. We have to encourage and remind each other, because we keep on forgetting these kind of simple things. The world outside is very, very like this. And we go out and like, okay, we start like playing in their rules, but then like we trap ourselves into those. And that's why it's cool to have peers like this group, like, you know, like peers I have around in my life, that we can remind about each other's playfulness. That is, yeah, it's always like this. It's nobody fundamentally knows what we're doing here, so everybody's just trying to do their best. That's it. Like that's like we all trying to figure it out constantly. What the fuck is going on with this reality? What is matter? What is energy? What is connection? What is all directions.
I believe because of that, and I know because of that, that's why the feeling is so important. Because if we follow our feeling, that is the ultimate guidance counselor, the compass that will allow us to tap into who we are and hear that inherent communication that comes from our greatest teacher, you know, and it gives us certainty to know that this congruence, this feeling. It was so funny because I would literally like, I would check in with myself and I would say, okay, like, what would grandma think? You know, what would mom think? What would dad think? You know, like if I'm making this action, is this in the best space for, like, would they be like, Eric, okay, you know, like you're following these principles. And that to me was a beautiful indication of creating decisions from that moral compass. Because even though I may not agree with a lot of things my grandma says or my mom says or my dad says, their feeling of how they show up in their behavior with the space of love and compassion is what made me feel a level of certainty that gave me so much compass and direction towards the light. And then as a result, when I would go into medicine or these moments of feeling death, it was that compass to that eternal teacher that then gave me the knowing that, okay, so now this is the same feeling. That feeling, oh my goodness, this is the same thing. This is the same thing. I get it. And so the more I started to learn, the more I started to pay attention to this feeling of what the illusion of death is, the more I realized that it's actually the guidance of living fully in this life. And that's when you completely transcend fear, because there's no more fear. Fear is the illusion. And so the feeling is what guides. I can't hear you, Sigitas.
Wow.
So I wanted to share on the feeling, choosing to respond or live out of from the feeling. It's, for me, it became very easy, because if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. And then there is no that confusion. That gives me very clear certainty again. It's like, yes, I'm going there, or no, I don't go there. It's very easy, like, to step into that reality of whatever I need to choose mentally, and then I get a feeling. Is it yes or no?
I love the both of the beautiful cats were listening so profoundly there for a while. It was really
Very
amazing.
intently. Yeah. The only thing I'll say, I love the fuck yes, fuck no. But whenever your nervous system is dysregulated, then it's almost like everything's a fuck no. So just like that one distinction of like helping people getting to, again, that like safety regulated space where they, but like, yes, then it becomes building that muscle of knowing the feeling and getting there.
Eric, can I ask what experience led you to see that no more fear of death? Because I was very curious about that after.
There was many, brother. In fact, you know, I spent a lot of time with the indigenous elders in Brazil, in Mexico, in Ecuador, Peru, and things like this. And so a lot of these teachers and the elders, you know, I've spent a lot of time with, like, really understanding them. And they gave me tools that are infinite. And what I realized is that I was actually giving them tools from nature. So when I was in Ecuador, I was in a sweat lodge where on the fourth door, and they have these 4 doors where you go in, and then they heat the sweat lodge, and you pray and you breathe and you connect and you sing. And I had 4 elders in there. So Native American, Mayan, Peruvian, and Venezuelan elders there with me, two abuelitas and 2 abuelos, meaning grandfathers and grandmothers. And on the final door, I ended up fully leaving my body, and my body ended up rolling over the grandfather rocks, and my whole back had burnt. My masculine side had burnt my whole side, like my whole back of my body and my butt was burnt by the grandfather rocks, total hot. And like that's from spirit. Like that is such profound spirit connecting me to earth and the fire that gave my recognition of my masculine knowing that was then later nurtured by the feminine spirit, because later the women were nurturing my wounds for the rest of the 3 weeks that I was in ceremony and prayer. I would have to lean on my left butt cheek, and it was literally the feminine that was supporting my spirit. And so these types of experiences, although most people don't listen to, I was able to then understand what spirit was teaching me and telling me in tapping into the grandfather and the grandmother nature of that elder within me. And then also identifying this ancient wisdom that was locked in my body that came out to a total conscious awareness. And so by spending time with these elders, they gave me almost like the rites of passage to opening up my body. Spirit gave me it, but they were the embodiment. And the feeling of death at that time, I was in extreme peace. So whether it was ayahuasca, bufo, yopo, these are all medicines, but those medicines actually only are guides to help find the real nature of who we are, because we are the medicine. You see, most people think that the medicine outside of them is the medicine, but the medicine is actually within us. It's the wealth within, it's the nature we are, it's the spirit dynamic, this ancientness. So once we realized, or once I realized, oh my God, my ego's dying, I'm dying, oh my God. I was telling people like, I'm dying, I'm going crazy. Like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like, you guys, help, help, help. Once I realized that was my mind, I was able to tap into this deep sense of calmness, of knowing. And then I started to listen to what spirit was telling me. Then I started to study it. And then I started to hold the space for other people to allow spirit to communicate to me through them so that I can help them heal their nature. And eventually it was through meditation, it was through medicine, it was through being in tribal kind of circles. And eventually it became this certainty of knowing that, hold on a second, I don't need the medicine anymore because I am the medicine. And so as this community within myself has grown, now I've grown and my spirit has become omnipresent in multiple different places around the world because of the time and energy I've spent in person in relation to reverence. And so that becomes now completely fucking fearless. It didn't matter what culture, what religion, what belief system, what government organization, what business, what economic status, all that bullshit. I don't see, and I will never see that, because I see the soul. I see the spirit in each and every one of us. And so as a result, there is no fear here. You can murder me or kill me, and I will be back again and again and again and again. And there's no fear. There's zero fear, because I know from a spirit level what we are here to cultivate and integrate into the familiar reality. And as a result, we are here to do it together. And that's why this ancient proverb of like the greatest opportunity that you'll ever understand is that you're here alone, because we are all one. And as a result, you come together and you see the mirrors within all of us and step into that level of absolute certainty, because you are the consciousness, the direct manifestation of consciousness experiencing itself.
Thank you. That was amazing. Wow.
So me and Eric, we were going to Madeira, and he came to Portugal here, and we met in on the west coast. And I knew that he's going to take a free diving course or something to challenge himself and to to literally kiss the doors of the death, you know. And I meet him, and he's all happy. He's so fucking excited. He's so proud of him. And he's like, Siggy, brother, I literally died. I literally died underwater. I passed out. And if not this beautiful gentleman, I would be dead. Like literally. He went and surrendered into death, you know. So that's comes with exploring I guess death and facing it, you know, and it's like creating the rites of passage. What we talk the other day is like, so the elders used to create those rites of passage for us so we can break through and literally like become as close as possible to kind of death, either is mental or, you know, like ego death, or but the rituals and those rituals gives that foundation of certainty that we all gonna die, you know, literally one day. So there's the fear, like then becomes a choice. Do we want to live out of fear, or do we want to live out of love? Of course love for me. I go for love. Like doesn't matter anyways we're gonna fucking die. And as Eric says, at some point it becomes that very clear that energy never dies. So this energy will come back again, you can you just like this, it's like nobody will kill it, like it's not possible by fundamental laws of nature.
Amazing.
For sure.
Thank you both.
I think it's a great way to finish. I'm very inspired to go and start creating more certainty through the feeling, through our bodies, through our hearts, and not through the mind, because the mind is what makes us speak louder and talk louder and feel, and the ego starts coming into play. So this is so beautiful, and I love that ending with the being the understanding that death is there, and we're not fearful of anything that comes, because the energy is what's the most powerful. It's very beautiful.
Well,
So I don't know if
I just want to add, because Mario in Portugal, who gave me the gift of, you know, I was like, first time free diving, and I'm like, Mario, I'm spending a week with you. I want to learn how to be the advanced free diver. I want to go down to 30 meters. I want to make this happen. And it's interesting, because when you decide and commit to something, your mind will make it happen. Your mind can make it happen, and your spirit will as soon as you use the mind as an amplifier. And so what the beautiful part of it is like exchanging that energy from our hearts and then amplifying it with our minds. It will make anything come to life. And so when I introduced Seguitas and Mario in Portugal, and Mario is such a brother, he's like literally, like Seguita said, without him, you know, I wouldn't be alive today, because I completely surrendered. I was focused on the goal. I was going to make it happen. And if I wasn't going to make it happen, I was going to then spirit, you know, whatever you need, you got me. And that's exactly what happened. You know, Mario had grabbed me, you know, he knew that I was going for that push, and he was prepared, and he brought me up, and that's exactly what happened. And then when I woke up, I was like, thanks, bro, I love you. Like, thank you, Spirit, because it was Spirit that guided it, because it was the complete surrender, you see. And when you completely surrender to a knowing, there's intelligence that guides you, but you have to be intelligent about it. And so I encourage us all to fully commit to our paths, whether you're here in this room or you're listening back or you're at home, wherever you are. Fully commit, because that full commitment to the passion, the purpose, the devotion, that's what's going to make things fucking real. That nobody else outside of you except you. I just want to end with that, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you all so much. I'm so grateful. You guys are all such amazing beings.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
What's up, brother?